Hi again, Greg Bell, the News Tribune here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay after the Seahawks lose their season opener 17-9 to Green Bay. A game that they had contained Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense for much of the first three quarters. It was 3-0 Seahawks at the half, and it should have been 10-0. Nazir Jones intercepted a pass here and went to the other end zone. Rookie defensive tackle surprised Rodgers, jumping up, intercepting a pass, running it the other way for what it looked like an apparent touchdown, but it was called back by two penalties. One, Jeremy Lane called for allegedly punching Davante Adams, a Packers wide receiver, and Cliff Averill called for what was a wholly unnecessary block on Aaron Rodgers. It wasn't a block in the back that I could see on the replays, but it just wasn't necessary. And that's what Pete Carroll said after the game, is that Averill didn't have to do it. And if you're going to go anywhere near a two-time NFL MVP quarterback in this league, it's going to get scrutinized. The official, the referee, the White Hat's looking at that specifically after interceptions. The league officials are trained to do that, so he was already, the referee was, looking at Rodgers to make sure nothing untoward was happening. Not at all a blatant hit, a dirty hit or anything, but the fact that Averill even sniffed at or breathed on Rodgers was what Pete Carroll's point was after the game. It was Averill's penalty that called back the touchdown. It turns out that would have been the Seahawks' only touchdown of the game. They only managed 3 field goals because the offensive line remains the issue that it was all last season. Starters in 4 new positions today as to the last time the Seahawks had played in January, and it was malfunctioning all over the place, especially in the first half. The Seahawks decided to leave in multiple receivers to help block. Tight end Jimmy Graham, Trey Madden, and usually a pass-catching running back. C.J. Prosise stayed in the block a few times, not exactly his forte, the third down back. Luke Wilson and Graham a couple times both stayed in the block. What that turned out was it gave Wilson a little more time in the second and third quarters, but it then gave the Packers secondary the advantage down the field because there were 6, usually 5 defensive backs plus a linebacker or 2, 6 or 7 defenders guarding only 4 wide receivers or downfield receivers for the Seahawks. And they just couldn't get open. And a lot of times Wilson got sacked because he had no open receivers or threw it away or was forced to scramble because the numbers down the field were in Green Bay's favor by all the additional protection the Seahawks had to keep in for their offensive line. So that, you've heard it once, you've heard it 100 times here in the last 2 seasons. The offensive line remains the offense's biggest issue. This was the 5th game in the last 16 regular season games the Seahawks failed to score more than 10 points. That alone will tell you what the offensive struggles have been, and all of them traced to the offensive line's play. Last year it was because Wilson wasn't healthy enough after the first 3 games. He had 2 major injuries. Today he was healthy, and that's what got him to run away for some trouble throughout this game. Earl Thomas, we talked to him about that and his return today from his broken leg. We talked to him about the defense being on the field, having to be on the field so much, and he said it's been like that for 8 years. Now, he didn't mean that as a slam to the offense, but he did mean that the defense takes it upon themselves to win the game for the offense. They almost did today, and that penalty on Averill, had that not occurred on the touchdown by Nazir Jones, and they very much could have won this game. Chris Carson looked great again. The rookie running back had a 20-some yard run, and he definitely had more of a role in this game than Eddie Lacy on Eddie Lacy reunion day. It looked like coming into it, Lacy would get his big chance here on his former Green Bay stage because Thomas Rawls was inactive, high ankle sprain. Lacy, though, was not a factor in the offense. Seahawks had to go, as I said, into passing mode, in 2-minute offense mode, and pass protection mode with their backs, which is why even Carson was in pass blocking. About that 2-minute drill. Again, the Seahawks looked better on offense. The only time they looked in a flow all day was in the 2-minute offense. They did it once in the first half, the end of the half. They had gained 25 total yards in 17 plays, and then 63 yards in 4 plays in the hurry-up at the end of the first half. They went to it again in the middle of the 4th quarter and drove all the way down to the 23-yard line of the Packers in hurry-up. I asked Russell Wilson, is that sustainable to do that more often, more parts of the game? And he said it may be. He also said that he admitted the only time they got rhythm was in the 2-minute drill, and said that maybe it's something we have to look at. that has helped the offensive line because of the quick passing. And Wilson made the point it also helps the offensive line because the defensive pass rushers get a little more winded without rest of 30-some seconds between plays. If it sounds like Groundhog Day in 2017 on September 10th, it is. The same issues we were talking about last year, maybe the better part of 2 or 3 years, we're talking about here after the Seahawks opener. San Francisco comes to CenturyLink Field on Sunday. The Seahawks are going to be favored probably in the next 5 games. And I mentioned this before this game, that no matter the result, the Seahawks have a very good shot at being 5-1 into October. Problem, of course, is if the offensive line plays and the protection issues arise like they did today, maybe they won't be 5-1 in October. No major injuries to note. A lot of defensive linemen went off with injuries but came back in the game. Cliff Averill, Sheldon Richardson, Michael Bennett, they all came right back in and finished the game. I'll be getting on a plane and being at Pete Carroll's press conference in Renton tomorrow afternoon, Monday afternoon. Follow our coverage always at thenewstribune.com and on Twitter at GBellSeattle. Thanks for watching.